Japan it's a wonderful country, but it's a very complex culture. It's very different to Australia. It's well and truly out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
As a young fella going over there on your own, what was that like?
To be honest, it was a definite culture shock, man. I don't know. At that stage, I was really young. Even with the contract, I actually didn't tell my parents I got it until probably like a month after I'd already signed it. I've always kind of been a guy who's kind of like, I'll just do it with actions instead of talking about it. So, yeah, it came to this point when I was like, all right, parents, I'm off. And then they were obviously shocked by it. But I just kind of rocked in, didn't really put the most thought into it. And, mate, I arrived there immediately barraged by there's no English being spoken at all. Frank, but luckily, see, I was really blessed along my way. Frankie Kalgoorlie was there.
Oh, yeah.
He had already spent like 4 months there. So I was able to get his kind of like knowledge, and he took me under the wing a bit, but massive culture shock, man. But I think as you would know, like with the Japanese as well, they're the most polite people. Like they'll try their best to speak, a little bit of English to get it by, but food, everything, it was quite overwhelming my first year. I struggled a bit.
Did you end up learning to enjoy the culture, the food, the language, all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I think once you I think you would know as well. Just when you travel, you gotta immerse yourself into it, don't you? Like you can't sit back and kind of be an Australian when you know you're going to live there. You can't just like have this kind of idea of I got to live like an Australian. You kind of got to immerse yourself in their culture, be like quite robotic. When you see the green lights and not walk across the road, you're stopping, you're waiting there, even if there's no cars. You're not speaking on the phone in the train. I mean, you're bowing when you're saying thank you. Just simple things like that. And once I immersed myself, I loved it. I loved the country. And especially where Chiba is, it's probably one of the most, like, it's kind of like, what would you say, the Rose Bay or Darling kind of harbor living area of Tokyo. So it was unreal.
What about the food? Was that something, were you someone that always had like an adventurous tasting food, or was that something you had to get accustomed to as well?
Thankfully, my mum's a I had some taste buds on me, so I could definitely get used to the. But when you get eating sushi in Australia, you think it's like a chicken avocado drenched in mayo over there, but over there it's just straight beautiful sashimi, like freshly caught. So that's a bit of a shock, but once you have it, it's unreal.
In terms of the running of the team, so I've heard quite a few teams do it differently. So Rob, obviously a Kiwi guy, speaks English. Did he speak Japanese, or was most of his coaching in English with translators? How did that all work?
Yeah, so Rob would always have a fair crack at his Japanese, but yeah, we had translators there. Most teams have maybe two, 3 Japanese people that can speak English. I mean, most of the players have learned like basic English in school as well. But we would have so Rob would speak, and then the translator would come in kind of in the meetings and kind of repeat what he says. But I mean, to be fair, most of the foreigners would have a fair crack at their Japanese and the basics of it. So
did they give you lessons, or was that part of it, or was that an optional sort of thing?
Optional. It's optional, but I mean, I took it because I was like, why not? You can say they give you up an option of like, I think Monday, Wednesday, Friday, if you want to rock in, and it's all paid for. So,
mate, something I've learned about living and being in other countries is if you can start to speak the language a little bit, it opens up a whole new world for you. Because Japan, if you can, like I grew up in Hong Kong. Everyone speaks English in Hong Kong, basically, apart from a few Chinese people. But having the ability to speak a little bit of Chinese opens you up to just a whole new world that you wouldn't have even known.
Exactly.
What about the Sunwolves? Tell me how that came about. Who was it? Tony Brown who was coaching them at the time?
So, well, my first year, it wasn't. It was my first year. Who was about? It was Philo Tiatia, my first year.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, my first year, I just finished my 6-month contract, and I got offered another 2 years to NTT. And then Rob just came up to me kind of near the end of the year, and he's like, "How would you like to play some Super Rugby?" And I was like, "Yeah, obviously, I'd be super keen." He's like, "All right, I'm gonna have a talk to Philo," and he was like, "For me, I want you to obviously keep growing, so I'm gonna try to get you a part of the team." And so Philo didn't really know me at all, to be fair. He just kind of went off what Rob said, and thankfully Philo gave me an opportunity. And yeah, I got to train. I think I only played maybe eight games that year, or 9 games. So it wasn't the most, but just to be immersed kind of in the Super Rugby experience and world was massive. And
was this your first year in Japan, or was this the second?
This was my first year.
So you've gone from playing a bit of first grade, second grade, first grade shoot shield, to moving to Tokyo, and then all of a sudden you're playing Super Rugby for the Sunwolves.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Mate, that's crazy if you think about it.